Psalm 23 is the most famous worship song in all of history. And before we look at it, it would be good for us to realize that the scripture has different kinds of literature within it. So there are history books within the Bible that are meant to be read as history. There's this fiery prophetic literature that's meant to be read as moral reform. And then there are letters that people write to one another in the Bible. That's a communication that we are, in a sense, eavesdropping on. There's apocalyptic literature that tells the future and uses metaphorical language and things of this nature. That's the book of Revelation. And then there's poetry. And poetry is meant to be read as music. It's meant to be an aesthetic experience. It's meant to be felt. So the Psalms are your songbook. And we do not want to dive into that and just parse it like it's legal literature. It's different. We're looking for rhythm, we're looking for feeling, we're looking for repetition. So the rules of reading poetry are a bit different. But here it is. This whole psalm is about this character, the Good Shepherd, about what he does, how he cares for a person, and what he does throughout a diversity of human experiences. So let's see what some of those experiences are when you walk with the Good Shepherd. He says, I shall not want. And so if God is a shepherd, that means he's a leader of sheep. And the sheep says back, I am so satisfied with how you're managing my life. I trust you. I know that I won't be in want. You make me lie down in green pastures. I always thought this was interesting because I got the connection between green pastures and sheep. So I understood this part, but I didn't understand the word makes. Why does God make people lie down in green pastures? And the answer is sheep are very fearful animals, so they will not lie down unless they feel complete peace. So when we're saying that God is able to, or a shepherd is able to make sheep lie down, we're saying that they're able to create such a tranquil environment in their soul and in their peace that they feel the freedom to lie down. This is what God has the capability to do. He leads me beside still waters, and he restores my soul. Now this is synonymous parallelism. So it's simply a poetic method, synonymous parallelism, where they are restating the same thing multiple times. He leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. I think this is key because it ties the previous part to the next part, because here the experience changes. It starts to say that we're walking through the valley of the shadow of death and will fear no evil. How could God be consistent? How could he have a good reputation if he were to sometimes do this, but then once we hit a hard experience, he were to not? But it says he is consistent. For his name's sake, his reputation is consistent. He is with us. His rod and staff comfort us. A shepherd uses a staff in order to let his presence and his guidance be known to the sheep. But it's not just a method of control. It is a method of presence. So that if a sheep are walking through a dark place, they would know when they feel this on them, they know that they are not alone. They know they're being guided, and the Good Shepherd has not failed them in the moment of their highest need. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. David writes this psalm, and he's not in the experience that he wants to be in, but he's able to eat. And to this day, in the midst of coronavirus, I have not yet heard of a Christian who has not been able to eat because of the way God has provided from himself and through his people, even in a strange time. You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows. This is medicinal and it's royal, it's honoring. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. So there's an eternal component to this. And the word goodness and mercy is the Hebrew word hesed, which means steadfast love. Everywhere else it's translated as steadfast love. I think this was translated goodness and mercy because so many people have memorized it that if the translators were to change it, there may be a revolt. So they just leave it as goodness and mercy, but it means a steadfast love, which means God's posture of love and care toward me will not change. It doesn't mean that good fortune or good luck or good circumstance will follow me all the days of my life. It's not an incantation. It's not a magic spell. It means this care of God that allows me to lie down no matter what circumstance I walk through will follow me forever, and I will be in his presence. I'm going to take the weekend off, and I'll meet you on Monday. Walk with the Good Shepherd over the weekend.